Consciousness flows with gentle boundaries. Freedom breathes within this circle. Open circle, we are here. Open circle, drawing near. We unlearn what once confined us. We remember who we are. Kindness given without condition. Freedom held with quiet strength. Open circle, we are here. Open circle, drawing near. You are welcome in this space. You are safe to simply be. Take your time and find your voice, or just rest in quiet presence. Open circle, we are here. Open circle, drawing near. Open circle holds us now. Open circle, soft and true. Open circle, breathing slow. Open circle, we are. Open circle holds us now. Open circle, soft and true. Open circle, breathing slow. Open circle, we are.
Hello, I'm Millais Gray. Welcome to the channel. So we have a question from a viewer, and it's respecting encounters. Now, when we're talking about encounters, we're saying the kind of encounter beyond the mind. Matt, what? Well, let's see if we can just frame the question. So it's an encounter beyond the mind, like angels, entities, and essentially it's about consciousness, right? It's the question of consciousness, right? So let's see if I can neaten it up. So encounters beyond the mind, angels, entities, and the question of consciousness. So it's a topic that sits right on the edge, you could say, of our human curiosity, right? And also caution, because it's something many people have experienced, okay, in one form or another. But often they don't know how to talk about it safely or clearly. Okay, I think that's the experience. So that is the question of encounters with non-physical beings. What did we say? Angels, demons, spirits, extraterrestrials, or even what some would call God or supreme consciousness. Now, I want to approach this carefully. I want to do it respectfully. I don't want to dismiss it, but I don't also want to declare anything prematurely, because the moment we rush into something, where we are showing certainty, be it in this direction, be it in that direction, any which way, or in between, right? There's this tendency to lose the very thing that allows us to understand it. What is it? Clear inquiry. All right? So how to frame the question? Okay, so across cultures, let's go here. Across peoples, cross cultures, cross history, across complexity, you've got different belief systems. People report, hey, here's an encounter. This is an intelligence, and it's beyond me. It's beyond oneself or beyond themselves. Now, is this controversial? No, it's not. It's not controversial, that. You go, Matt, yes it is. No, it's not. Okay, let me explain. What is controversial? It's what those experiences are. That's controversial. And I'm going to say, are they external beings? That's your controversy. Are they internal psychological processes? That's controversial. Here's another one. Is it a symbolic expression of the mind? Let's go to Freud. Let's go to Jung. Okay. Let's go to William James. Yeah. Or is it something that we don't yet have the language or science to describe? Okay. So from a research perspective, the candid, honest answer is we don't fully know. So Matt, what do we know? So what we do know is that the experiences themselves are often extremely real to the beholder, to the person that's experiencing it. And they can be deeply transformative. Oh yes. Ooh, the effects, incredible. And it can be for worse. You can go through this experience and come out a mess with it. Psychosis, confusion. How do you reintegrate into society? So that's for worse. But you can also come out of it for better. Yeah. So we do have a lot of research, and that's the grounding point, because if we step into the field of parapsychology, and I mean, you just mentioned parapsychology. That was very, very taboo, okay, for a long time. Still is. It's gotten better, but I'm talking about proper disciplined parapsychological research, right? And my own opinion, this is frontline stuff. This is the future. This is now. This is fundamental. So you want to name it, I don't know, or connect it to related areas. So from parapsychological to transpersonal psychology. There is something very, very interesting as you look at this, because serious researchers They don't start by asking, is this real or not? They don't ask that, first of all. They ask. They start. This is the starting point. What's the pattern? Oh, okay. Yeah, we can see a pattern here. That's great. Cross-reference, getting some data. Okay, recognizing some anchors here, some commonalities. Another one. What are the conditions? Were you awake? Were you in a hypnagogic state? Did you take medication? Did you experiment with... What were you doing? Okay, so conditions. Conditions are important. So what are the patterns? What are the conditions? And then what's the impact on the individual? That you could say is the third one. So I touched on it. Hypnagogic, this word. Okay, what's that, Matt? Hypnagogic, you and these words. Okay. Hypnagogic. People in a hypnagogic state, all right? That's this borderland, this place between waking and sleep, right? So, yeah, you see this pattern coming up. So, person's in this hypnagogic state between sleep state and waking state. They report very vivid entity encounters. You know, if we're tackling this question, that's what we are. That's what we're doing. We're tackling this question, right? So this waking sleep state, right? Very, very vivid. And okay, here's another condition. You want to say to me, Matt, has this happened to you? Please, I want to know, has this happened to you? I wouldn't be talking about this thing if it hadn't been on this journey or involved in it or involved in the people. This has been the work. I can say it hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped. So you get an individual under extreme stress. This is another one. So it's not just hypnagogia. You can have stress state, right? I'm talking just load it up. Extreme stress state. Or extreme emotional processing. Oh, it doesn't even have to be extreme, I suppose. But your incident goes up when it's in extremes, right? It can generate highly structured meaningful visions. That's what I want to say. So certain neurological and perceptual mechanisms can produce a strong sense of presence. Now this is important. None of those explanations Matt, you're in hot water. I can feel it. Excuse me, moment. None of those explanations fully exhaust the phenomena. That's sobering, right? Do we have well-documented cases? Yes, we do. We do. We're not without the research. It's there, right? Well-documented, I mean. Let's go into the angles. Let's disprove it. Here's what we do know. Here's disproving it. Here's the angles. All right? So really well documented. I mean disciplined, real disciplined approach. Okay. So you've got people receiving information they didn't consciously know. Boom, there it goes, download, and you're going, what? Where'd you get this? I mean, I'm even thinking of the very young 5-year-old playing the piano, and it's brilliant, brilliant. But I want to specify. People getting information. What did I say? Download. And they go, I didn't know this. Where'd this come from? And then you get experiences that lead to long-term psychological transformation. You know, trying to integrate this. And they bang on. They're correct. Now, when you start seeing this report comes in, report. Remember, I spoke to you about, or I mentioned in the channel, service desk and the information that comes in. And it's like, man, shove that on the shelf, put that on the shelf, put it in the deep archive. Okay? When you've got multiple individuals reporting things that overlap, and when I say overlap, I'm talking about symbolic structures across cultures. And yeah, the work we were doing, it's multiple languages, multiple tribes, peoples, nations. It's a smelting pot of culture and beliefs. I mean, you're thrown into this. Knock, knock, knock on the door. Hello, how are you? I mean, if you're doing the territory correctly, you're getting that in. I realized that writing things down on an S8, which was our way of recording things from house to house in the demands of the institution, right? And of course, that's had to fall away now with the change in data laws and what you can take in. But I mean, for a long time, if you were doing the work properly, you'd be taking in a tremendous amount of data like this, right? And you'd see, oh yeah, okay, that's a commonality. Not just the successes. Oh, this is great chat that we had here. I'm talking about even putting down where things didn't quite go right. And it's saying, well, I'm going to have to work on this. I'm going to have to research this one because I actually just don't know. Don't know the answer here. And I'm going to say that information is very, very important because you see it across cultures, you see it across different peoples. And this, I'm going to say, affords us the opportunity where we were placed in a space which called for honesty. I mean real, brutal, candid honesty. And it's a good place. Might not be very comfortable, but there's something happening here. Now, I realize the interpretation remains open. Yeah, got it. So let's go into some of this dream analogy, because that's part of it. I don't think it's something we don't understand, right? We all understand. Yeah, dreams, Matt, sure. So in dreams, there we go, dream diary. I met God. G-O-D. Here's another one. I was chased by something terrifying. For some, it's an elephant. For some, it's something you can't even describe easily. Here's another one. I experienced the most incredible love you can ever imagine beyond imagination. That's dream diary, write that down. Oh, here's another one. Death. Dream diary, I died and then woke up. And then you've got in the dream diary taboo experiences. Sure, it's Matt. Is this what you were dreaming? Yes. I can't read this out loud publicly. I'm giggling again, but I mean, that's human. It's the human experience. Oh boy. Oh, okay. I'm going to go into this one. How about a dream? How about a dream? We flip a few pages in the dream diary and we see, ooh, this experience. Yeah. I feel with absolute certainty that what I was experiencing was absolutely real. I'm going, I think I'm woken up in the dream here. I think that dream was real. Where am I? What a dream diary. Now the this is where I mix things up. Let me reboot. Excuse me. Okay. The key question. I'm trying to combine key and question together. The key question is, it's not was the dream real? The better question is, what was the mind doing? Okay, what was happening here? Right? Because dreams, they show us something very crucial. Now, it's important. I'm not dismissing it. The mind is capable of generating fully immersive, emotionally convincing realities, complete with characters that feel independent of us. So when someone's saying, oh, I encountered a being, there's two possibilities here. It's happening simultaneously, right at once. So it might be, it might be something beyond the individual. Said it. But there's the second one. It may be something generated within consciousness. And at this stage of knowledge, we cannot conclusively separate those in every case. Can't do it. All right. So here's your ethical anchor. And this is where I've said it before. You know, you take a step towards knowledge or towards growth or development. Take 3 steps towards ethics. It's that time. Because this is where ethics becomes very, very important. I'd say it's critical. Okay, you've heard me mouth off about this ethics thing. Because historically, systems, specifically high control systems, and I'm going to put this word negative high control system, where things have gone wrong, right? In that system, it takes these kinds of experiences and it interprets them for people. It says, oh, well, thanks for bringing that question. Here we go. Let's start telling you what this is all about. And they say, oh, yeah, this was God confirming we're right. Here's another one. Yes, you had that dream? Yeah. That was a demon because you left. You did something wrong. Naughty, naughty. Oh, yeah, we warned you. Now it's happened. Oh, it's happened. You know, you better do this A, B, C, D, E, F, G to get into the good books again. So yeah, it gets framed as your what you had, your dream, your experience. You know why that happened? It proves your loyalty, or you're a failure. Boom, there we go. Bye. And when I say bye, I mean that's where the harm begins. Let me be clear, right? Because instead of helping a person understand their experiences and saying, okay, well, this is a safe space, let's take a look at this, it assigns meaning in a way that creates fear, guilt, or dependency. Does that sound familiar? Yes, it does. Because I want to be very, very clear here. Having experience doesn't mean that you must accept someone else's interpretation of it. Here you go, Matt Gray is going to tell you. You bring your dream. Let's start. There's a dream diary. Snake means this. Water means this. God means this. Father means this. Sun means this. Moon means this. You can do this, sure. But I want to make very clear, you don't have to accept someone else's interpretation of it. And just as importantly, when we say, or somebody says, I left a system because ethically it couldn't deal with this thing. It was unethical. Okay. Well, that sounds like growth to me, right? Leaving a system doesn't mean you've left truth. I want to really emphasize this. No. Leaving a system may mean that you have embraced truth. You're saying, no, I can't handle this negative mental gymnastics. It's supporting harm. Can't do it. So it doesn't mean that you've left truth. It doesn't mean that you've left spirituality. It doesn't mean you can't have some kind of meaningful experience, or that you haven't had a meaningful experience, or you lack capacity for a meaningful experience. You haven't left the truth. If anything, you may be learning. That's a good word. We've gone from leaving to learning. You may be learning how to engage with the experience, more directly, without it being filtered for you. Through our eyes, through our interpretation, through the institution's narrative. So I think by just talking like this, we get a balanced position, or a better balanced position. I say I don't have all the answers, didn't claim that, but a more grounded position from the way that I can see things were patterned, or you can say, yeah, judge it for yourself, right? Whether it's more grounded. When there is an experience like this, take it seriously. Don't dismiss it, but also don't literalize that too quickly. Instead, observe the pattern. Here you go. Yeah, I've got a dream diary. It happened on such and such a date. This is what happened in the day, whatever. Start doing that. I'm not directing a person to do that, but I'm saying observe the pattern, because you can reflect when you're awake and when you're calm, and you can check it against evidence and consistency. It's very important to do this, because you can notice whether the experience is to clarity or to fear. That matters. So experiences that induce overwhelming fear, and I say, look, fear is a coward that when you face it, it runs away. Ever heard that expression? You get the experience, it induces fear. It induces what? Authority or coercion. Been emphasizing this word coercion. When that happens, it's echoing something, past conditioning. And so it should be handled with caution, not rejected outright, not obeyed blindly either. No, that's a mistake. Can be a mistake. So are there non-physical beings, angel, demon, God, devil, whatever, aliens, others, right? Are there non-physical beings? The honest answer is this. There is a long history of human experience suggesting something just like that. But whether those are independent entities or structures within consciousness, or an intersection between the two, or this convergence, remains an open question. And that's okay. It's okay. It's not a weakness. No. It's actually the strength of this approach. You're going to see it more and more and more. I see it more and more. Should say you could see it more and more, because it keeps us curious, it keeps us grounded and free from unnecessary fear. So if we've had these experiences, dreams, visions, encounters, we don't need to rush to label them. We can hold them, we can examine them, we can learn from them without surrendering clarity. Does that sound important? So, let's thank everyone. Thanks to the audience for bringing in this type of, what am I saying? Getting tongue-tied. Thank you very much for bringing this type of question in. It's a valuable question. It's an important question, and I'm very, very grateful. So thanks to the friends, thanks to the family, for everybody supporting. I am very grateful for your presence. Thank you for being here. You are the reason we are here. Shall we open the circle?